Welcome to Gamepinions episode 23. I'm your host, Calman, and I'm joined again, as always, by the man who's always out of bubblegum. TJ, how's it going?
Hey, Cal. Good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. We have a really awesome show today, though. There is a ton of stuff to cover, and I wanted to get your feedback on this. I was kind of thinking about maybe flexing out the what we've been playing category here. What do you think about that?
Explain more about that.
So usually when we start, we talk about the games we've been playing throughout the week.
Right.
Are you okay with kind of flexing that out and not going over that?
That's fine.
Okay. It took me a little while to get over it, but I'm over it now. We have a lot of cool things to talk about. I don't know if you guys want to hear that I've played MLB for the third straight week in a row, so we'll go ahead and...
Not much has changed for me either.
Yeah, it's just I'm kind of in that zone where I'm just happy with what I'm playing, and I don't really have anything else to play, so it's kind of wheeling it.
Yeah, I mean, we'll just stop playing when it stops being fun for the moment. Rocket League does have an event coming up, a summer event that looks pretty interesting.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll be hitting that up. That's the what's that called?
It's the Rad Summer, something like that.
Like is it the Radical Summer?
There it is.
Is that what they call it?
Yeah.
I actually didn't include that on there, but I'm not really sure what the details for that are.
The thing that just popped out to me was there's going to be like this game mode. I think it's a temporary game mode for the duration of this event, which should go from June to August, middle of June to middle of August. It looks like you use your teammates to fire the ectoplasm beams. I think I have that correct, at the ball.
Okay.
Just like in the Ghostbusters movie, I think I have the note here. The game mode is going to be called Ghost Hunt.
Oh.
So the battle cars are used to take the ball, almost like the magnet power-up in Rumble. That's what it seems like to me. It seems like a similar mechanic. So you have at least two of your teammates. I'm not sure if it's 2, 3, or 4 people, or is it just a 3-person game mode? I'm not sure yet. They haven't revealed that. You take the ball with these beams and you guide it to the net, and the ball has to be in the net for like 2 seconds before a goal is scored.
Oh wow! Okay.
So it seems like it'll be pretty interesting. I mean, everything they've done so far, hoops, drop shot, etc., is pretty fun when you get into it. I think this will be when we get into it. We'll want it to stick around, but for now it's just until August, and I think it pops in next week.
Okay, that sounds pretty cool. I've been so focused, I guess, on everything else that when I saw that, I wanted to click on it, but I was like, for whatever reason, I didn't. So I didn't really know about that game mode. But it seems like every time they introduce something, whether it be a stadium or a game mode, they say it's temporary, but then it sticks around forever. Like that farmstead or whatever they call that field. They said that's only going to be there in the fall, and then you can still play at it now.
Yeah, I think that was, if I'm not mistaken, that probably did go through the winter. I don't remember exactly. I think last year it definitely was only a seasonal thing.
Yeah.
And this year, December 2018 and January 19, it stuck around. I'm not 100% sure of that, but I think it did. I don't think too many people like that stadium, though. So if you don't see it in your playlist, I think a lot of people have chosen not to select it.
Man, I completely forgot that there was even a playlist thing. I mean, there's been so many features that have been added since like the original Vanilla Rocket League,
right? Yeah,
that I just completely forget about all these like older features. Because that was a while ago they introduced the playlist, if I remember correctly.
Who knows? Maybe 2 years ago.
Man, just can't believe the game's that old.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, I'll probably be checking that out. I mean, every time there's a new game mode in Rocket League, it's just something that eventually you get tired of playing like the ranked matches, and it's like it's time for something else. So I'll probably be doing that.
Kind of like a cool down mode.
Yeah.
You wrap up, you get kind of tired of all the serious stuff, right? Playing casual and even more seriously and ranked. You just want to kind of blow off steam in one of the goofier modes. This will be among them.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's how Rumble used to be, but now people get really mad in Rumble. So
well, they've made it ranked, and people get upset about it. It's still pretty enjoyable. I mean, there's nothing stopping you from turning it on mute unless you want to troll yourself.
Yeah, it's kind of like freaking out at like Mario Kart or something. I mean,
exactly. Yep.
Yeah. So that's really cool. I completely missed that, so I'm glad you got that. This next story that I had was actually from today, and that was the Google Stadia had a Stadia Connect presentation, basically just going over things that they didn't necessarily cover in the previous announcement that they made for this thing. So I guess Google Stadia is not really a piece of hardware. It's based around Google's cloud servers, and they released like kind of a pricing module for it's called the Stadia Founders Edition, I guess that's what they called it. And it includes basically a Stadia controller, a Chromecast Ultra, which I have no idea what that is. Honestly, I'm not really super excited about the Stadia, so I didn't really dig too deep into all this stuff. 3 months of Stadia Pro, which I think is like the membership. Destiny 2, the collection, which I guess is just Destiny 2 with all the DLC. Exclusive Stadia name, so I'm assuming that's similar to like an Xbox gamer tag or a PSN name. So if you reserve this or whatever, I guess you get to get your first dib at your Stadia name. And then a Stadia Buddy Pass, which I don't really know a whole bunch about that. So the thing with the Stadia is I don't really like it for multiple reasons. The first one is that the controller looks really crappy to me. It looks really ridiculous. It looks very generic, nothing special. But another part of this is I don't think, and this is judging off of trying out PlayStation Now at some point, I feel like the technology's not there yet. And I also don't like the way that they're pricing this thing, because a membership is $9.99 for access to their servers. However, this isn't like a Netflix model type of business structure where it's like you pay that $9 per month or $10 per month and you get access to all the games. Doing this basically just gives you like a free game per month, similar to a PlayStation Plus, Xbox Game Pass, even though Xbox Game Pass is pretty freaking great because you get a ton of really good games. This, though, is you get a free game. The first one's going to be Destiny 2, the collection, which to me isn't all that exciting. And the membership just kind of gives you, like I said before, access to the servers. So you actually have to still purchase these games separately. So it's not included in that $9 fee or $10 fee. So it doesn't really set itself up great, because you're going to be asking your customers to purchase games that aren't even downloaded to anything. It's just streaming it off a server. So hypothetically speaking, if this doesn't go well, which I don't think it's going to, honestly, I just don't, it basically means that you're spending money on something you don't physically have and you don't have on your hard drive, and it's basically just going to be, I mean, up to Google to keep those servers up. So I don't really feel super comfortable about, trusting that because like I said, I don't think the technology's there, and I think that Xbox, with their, xCloud and all that, I just think they have a much better chance at doing this, and I just feel like their technology is just miles ahead of Google at this point. So I'm not really super excited about it, honestly.
I'm just learning about this today myself, and so what you're saying is the $10 a month, is that what that is?
Yeah, it's gonna be $10 a month.
So that's to access the servers.
Yes.
Where you can download games from?
Yeah, and it's weird because I think the $9 a month, I think you can actually access the servers for free.
Okay.
So the $9 a month, I guess I kind of worded that wrong. It basically, it gives you access to like a free game per month. And then other features. Yeah. And it's funny because under the features, they actually list for both sides, because it kind of had a chart where it's like, this is what you get with the Stadia Pro membership, and this is what you get with just if you want to not pay that money. One of the features on both of them was that you can buy games at any time.
Okay.
So, I mean, what's so different between that and everything else? It's kind of a stupid thing to add on there.
Yeah, I like your point that this is all saved on cloud software, I guess. It's all saved in a cloud and not having the physical copy of the game on a hard drive. I would just hope that Stadia would be, if they support that essentially forever. Maybe this isn't the best thing to use for those big story mode games, but like a Destiny 2, like Overwatch, like something you just turn on and play. I guess it'll save all that progress when you're inside the game. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
But you're right. What if this fails a year from now? I mean, Google, when it gets behind something, isn't really supposed to fail, right? Except Google Glass, that was a thing for a day and then went away. I don't know if this will do the same thing or not, but I wonder where that I guess that Chromecast is just a bonus. I mean, I like that piece of hardware. It does a good job of streaming, but I don't know if that's involved with this video game streaming or not. That'd be a nice thing to have anyway.
Yeah.
Do you get that when you subscribe for the first time?
So that is actually packaged in with the Founders Edition bundle. So that's one of the things that you get is kind of like a perk in a way.
Okay.
I don't really, like I said, I didn't really like dig super deep into this because, I mean, part of me is just biased towards game hardware. Like I like having the game hardware. So this not being, attached to a dedicated piece of gaming hardware kind of makes me less interested in it.
Yeah, it's like not tangible.
Yeah.
PS4, right? You have PS Now that you can access the PSN network and download games and all that. If you were to cancel that, as far as I know, everything you've downloaded stays on your hard drive, even the ones you get free. I think I have that correct.
Yeah, I mean, I think how PlayStation works is with free games, if you get a free game from the PlayStation Network and you download it and your membership runs out, you don't have access to that free game until you restore your membership. Now, if you get like a game that's discounted, it's different. Like that game is going to be tied to your account regardless, but just because your membership ends doesn't mean that you're never going to get to play that game again. You just have to
renew it.
Yeah.
Okay, which happens automatically anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. All right.
Yeah, so this one though, it just seems like I don't know, to me it just doesn't seem like a really good thing to invest in just because you're not really owning anything, and I feel like there's a lot of pushback from people when games started to go digital. I personally like the digital aspect of, the different online shops that PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo have, just because I like not having the physical games for games that I don't like really care about because they take up space.
Yeah, in most cases I'm the same way. I like just downloading things and not have to worry about the boxes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of lazy of us, but it's kind of a hassle when you have to switch CDs. That is very early 2000s.
Yeah, it just gets old, and especially something like with like the 3DS or the Switch or the Vita, where if you're going to be taking that thing around with you, it's better just to have everything on board. You don't have to bring all those games around and risk losing one of your games.
Right.
Now, the biggest issue probably with this, besides the pricing, which I think is just it's not realistic, I don't think people are really going to take to this, is that there is inherent latency with streaming games.
Right, yeah. It won't work well with certain games unless the technology really evolves.
Yeah.
Every online game has a certain amount of lag. Will this streaming make it worse? I don't know. It may not be measurable. You may not be able to tell on games like that. And I guess this will allow online play.
Yeah, it should, yeah.
Okay. Some games I would hope that they would invest in technology to make that as minimal as possible. I mean, even there's lag involved with controllers that aren't wired into hardware, so
yeah,
unless you're playing with a wire controller, there's always going to be some input lag. But they've done a really good job where that's not noticeable. So I would trust these guys to make sure that's a small factor as possible.
Yeah, because I think my experience with PlayStation Now, I think the game I tried to stream was BioShock, and there was just a slight amount of input delay, which I guess if you play it enough, it doesn't really, I mean, it's not a huge deal, but for some games where you need to be quick and you need to be accurate, I feel like that might cause an issue. Now, that being said, PlayStation Now is, I think I mentioned this before, was really the weakest part of PlayStation's ecosystem, and it really wasn't their specialty. It was just kind of to me, it was kind of almost like a test feature for like the next thing. Google might have better technology, running with this stuff, but just the way they kind of placed everything out. I mean, they were showing what kind of internet connection you would need for which resolution. So that's kind of concerning, because if you don't have a really good internet, chances are
Which we don't.
Yeah. We'd probably be okay.
Yeah, but I imagine this would work really well with a gigabyte internet, which I don't know how common that is. It's not where we live. I know that.
Yeah.
But if you have that, you probably can play games streaming this fairly decent resolution.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think it supports all the way up to 4K right now.
Right.
And I imagine that whatever comes after 4K, if they stick around, I imagine they'll get to that point. Now, there was some opinions out there. Honestly, I feel like this went by really negative for a lot of people. I went ahead and just pulled some thoughts out here. This is from Gabriel Kazoo. Hopefully I said that right. It might be Gabriel Kazoo. I don't know. It's something like that. I've lost connection over 6 times, random quality drops, and I'm using my college's internet, and the future is no discs or download. Please, Stadia. That's also something to kind of consider, because I feel like a lot of the gamers out there are going to like universities and different areas where the internet connection might not be the best. Now, when you have like your Xbox or PlayStation, you can play single player games and not have any issue with that. You might have some issues if you play online, but I think most of the time, I feel like online gaming is kind of, it's either laggy sometimes or it's not. So I don't think that's really a huge issue. I just feel like this one kind of doesn't mesh well with that kind of lifestyle, or people that are living in maybe like an apartment with like shared internet or
economy internet.
Yeah. So I can definitely tell that people probably are going to be a little resistant to this, because I just don't think that it's ready for like that type of scenario. Like that to me is like a actual real world scenario where people just wouldn't be able to operate their machine, or well, I guess it's not a machine, but they won't be able to operate or run their games the way they should be able to. So I could definitely tell, why people are kind of not all in on this, because they're having a hard time with actual hardware that's plugged directly into the internet. Or, with a local just wireless internet, and you have the game running on your machine, instead of having doing everything at once. I also have another one. This one was more of a sarcastic, and this is at MeMan13. Wow, you can buy games whenever you want on Google Stadia. Unbelievable. Revolutionary technology. This is definitely not something that's been available on every console in the past 12 years. Not on Wii U, PS3, PS4, Xbox 360, Xbox One, or Switch. Amazing job, Google. I don't know why they included that in the features. I thought that was pretty ridiculous myself when I was reading it.
Yeah, did they talk about the library of games they'll have? So far, I've just heard about Destiny 2.
Well, I think there's going to be Destiny 2. The Division 2 is going to be on there. I think they had a decent amount of games on there. They revealed, I guess, a new game that they kind of made it seem was going to be exclusive. But I think it's really just a timed exclusive by a couple months, and it's actually going to be going to Xbox as well. But it was just weird. It's almost like they kind of ran out of selling points, so they're just like, hey, you can buy games through the service.
Yeah, it's not enough. It's got to be particular games, new good games.
Yeah,
that's what works so well with Xbox and especially PS4. Things like Bloodborne, these exclusives that move this hardware. I think I don't know if they've got exclusives lined up. That'd be unbelievable if they do, and that would definitely help us sell these subscriptions. Sell.
Yeah.
Maybe they're considering something they haven't revealed yet. I don't know. I didn't watch it myself, but that would help them.
Yeah, and I think they eventually probably will have some exclusives on there. But someone that I was reading, they actually brought up a good point where a lot of this footage they showed was, more like stock footage. It was more cutscenes and things that weren't actually running on the Stadia itself. And this was at Sam's Pro Station. My favorite part of Google Stadia's stream was when they showed little to no gameplay of anything running on their service. They are trying to advertise. Good job, guys.
There's an element of dishonesty there, but every gaming company, console, video game, they'll show you stuff and put a disclaimer at the bottom that says not actual gameplay.
Yeah.
They'll have to show people more to get them involved.
Yeah, and I feel like the thing with Stadia, I guess it's going to be at E3 and it's going to be playable. But with that internet there and everyone connecting, I just can't imagine it doing a good job. So that's going to be interesting to see.
Hopefully they're planning for that there'll be a lot of people connecting, and they've got, as best as they can, the hardware to support this, what they're going to reveal and display then.
Yeah.
I hope have trust in these guys to not completely bomb their own thing because they're not prepared on the backside of things, making sure this service runs properly when it's first revealed and can get into the hands of people who want to try it out.
Yeah, and we'll see. I guess we'll see what's going to happen with that. I just know. I guess if I'm guessing that they probably tried to use this in some other like popular situations, like through conventions and whatnot. I'm sure they had, because Google, they're pretty much everywhere. They can be wherever they want to be.
Right.
So I'm sure that they probably did test it beforehand, or at least I'm hoping that they did. And I just have one more tweet, and then we'll close out this Google Stadia section, because I feel like there probably is a lot more there, but like I said before, I'm not really super excited about the Stadia or their service. But this is at AK Family Home AK. Gotta love all the fantastic selling points of Stadia, such as why even bother having to download and install your game in a one-time process? Pre-order now to claim your username. New releases sold separately. There's probably cross saves with Sony. I don't know. So I guess we'll see what happens with that. That was I don't know, just given what the other companies have done, like Sony, what we talked about previously with Sony and Microsoft teaming together. There's obviously a fear of what Google could accomplish. So maybe it's more or less behind the scenes, and we don't really know too much yet until we actually see some gameplay.
Yeah, maybe today was just whetting our appetites, and we'll have some wild stuff in the next couple days.
Yeah, yes, we'll see what happens. This next topic happened yesterday, and that was the Pokemon Sword and Shield Nintendo Direct. Now, did you get to see that at all?
Yeah, I watched the new trailer.
Okay.
Pretty. It looks really good. A lot of different colors. Very vibrant world. They revealed the legendaries, which look very similar to each other. Obviously, one based like a shield. Like a shield is built into him. He's very shieldy, like this dog, this legendary dog. I don't remember the name.
I can't either. I don't know.
He looks pretty cool. And of course, everyone's saying, and I agree with this, the sword doggo is kind of like Sif from Dark Souls. Got the sword in his mouth. I think Sif is actually based on some other type of Japanese legend. I don't remember what that is. But they look kind of ordinary. But, being a Dark Souls fan, I do like seeing the dog with a sword in his mouth. It looks pretty cool. I probably won't get it. It definitely, it probably is going to be pretty nice having it on the Switch and on the big screen and all that. Actually, that would probably be, expand the experience for the first time.
Yeah.
They revealed these big Pokemon. I don't know what the story is with that. You know how Mario Kart will give you certain gimmicks and it takes them away the next iteration of Mario Kart? That's kind of like what Pokemon's been doing of late. First you have the Mega Evolutions, then you have the Z moves, and now you have giant Pokemon. Right away as I saw that, you saw that part, right, when the Pokemon turned big?
I do, yeah. It's called, let me see if I have it.
Dynamaxing or something?
Dynamax, yeah.
As soon as I thought that, I think everyone who is a fan of Generation 3 what happens when Whale Lord Dynamaxes? Like, does he turn into the planet? Like, does he turn into the size of the moon? Doesn't make any sense. I mean, like, the smallest Pokemon turn to the sides of the stadium. What's Whaler going to be? I imagine they'll just make him, within a certain pixel size and just bore everybody.
Yeah.
Same with the other giant Pokemon. So I don't know what the story is there. That may be cool. It may not. Just making Pokemon bigger. Why can't you just expand the Mega Evolution class? I don't understand certain things like that.
Yeah.
Do the Generation 2 Mega Evolutions. Why isn't there? You got Generation 1, Generation 3. Do they have Generation 4 Mega Evolutions? I don't remember. But Generation 2 is lacking for some reason. Why not just expand the Mega Evolutions?
Yeah.
I don't like gimmicks that come and go. I'm not a big fan of that. Keep expanding, but keep the old things too.
Yeah.
People love Mega Evolutions. They made everyone look cool or different, or make weaker Pokemon more powerful, etc. So these giant things are kind of dumb. It will be cool to play Pokemon on the big screen, a real Pokemon game, in a long, long time. Just when I watch it, I do get kind of nostalgic from how the simplicity of the older Pokemon games. But I can appreciate what they're doing.
Yeah.
It looks great. It looks great. The world looks vast. There's Pokemon in the overworld,
Which is one of my biggest complaints from the other games.
Yeah, they're completely absent from the other games, right? So that's a nice addition. What did you think of the trailer and the information they gave us?
Well, I made a episode, I guess, back when they first revealed the games and the titles, and I basically said that they played it too safe. I said I wanted this game to be similar to Breath of the Wild, but with Pokemon roaming, in big, tall, grassy areas, and you get to go and see like a herd of Pokemon and all that stuff. I said it probably wouldn't happen in like a mainline Pokemon series game. They'd have to make something like that. I'm pretty sure I bashed the fact that there was no, online like co-op features or anything like that. And I bashed the world for being too linear, just judging off of what the map looked like. I kind of speculated where everything was. I said the open world, or the open field that's like towards like the beginning portion of the map. I said that's probably going to be a little area where, you might be able to explore some places, but I kind of figured that some of it would be unexplorable. And I wasn't excited for it. I was very skeptical about it, and I didn't really think that they did Pokemon, I don't think they did justice with the hardware that they had. Now, when I watched this trailer, though, I have to say that I'm actually really impressed.
Okay.
So a lot of the complaints that I had about the initial trailer was that I thought that it wasn't going to be the way that this trailer has now portrayed it to be. I love the open world. I love like the open worldy areas. I love Pokemon being out in the open. That's something that Earthbound does with the enemies. That's something a lot of different RPGs, JRPGs do with the enemies. I think it's better. I think it's, it saves you time. You don't have to go randomly looking in grass to find a Pokemon that you're looking for. And like that universe has so many awesome, Pokemon and characters that it's like I want to be able to see them out in the open. I want to be able to see this world that I consider pretty interesting in a more like intimate way. So I think it's really awesome. I love how you can have a bike again. I like that water bike thing they showed. I thought that looked awesome. I love the different areas, and apparently in those open areas you have free camera control. But for people that don't really want that out of a Pokemon game, in the other more tighter areas, you'll have random encounters with Pokemon. You'll have just you can go wherever you need to go. Apparently Z moves are back. I did read about that today.
Okay, I didn't know that. All right.
Mega Evolutions, I haven't heard anything about it, and I think you're right. I think they're just gone. When it comes to the giant Pokemon, I love how there's a online multiplayer and local wireless multiplayer mode, which I always have said with every Switch game that comes out, and there's split screen and then there's online. It's like these things are awesome with local wireless play. Like that was something that made the DS line special. It's something that made the Game Boy Advance SP and the Game Boy Advance special when they had those wireless adapters.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that made the 3DS special. So I'm really happy they have local wireless play for this game. And the fact that now, I guess they're considered like online raid battles, where like one person in your party gets to be a giant Pokemon, but you can only use one person in your team that can do that. And I think it doesn't last forever, if I remember correctly. I think it only lasts like 3 turns. But apparently those big Pokemon have special like features, and they have special attacks that are much stronger than like opponents that you'll face like in the actual like base game. So I think that is really cool how they actually did something like that. Because how long have people been wanting to have like a massive multiplayer Pokemon, or at least a multiplayer Pokemon game?
Long time.
And it's like they're finally doing something. They're taking a step to that direction. So if they continue doing stuff like that and they build off this one and this one's successful, which it will be, like I'm very interested to see the future of Pokemon beyond this. But as just a trailer in general, I think I personally like the Dynamax features. I liked how the stadium looks super crammed and you have like these Titan Pokemon battling and the crowd's going crazy because apparently the crowd will react to the big attacks and the big Pokemon. The stadium gets louder. So I'm interested to see how that factors into the gameplay. I love how the gyms look like stadiums and how in this, is it the Gala region or Garler? What is it?
Galar?
Or Galar, something?
Something like that, based off of the UK, England.
Yeah, so I guess they based these kind of off of like soccer matches in a way.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, soccer stadiums. There's soccer stadiums all across England, as far as I know.
Yeah, so apparently Pokemon battling is their preferred form of entertainment. So when you go to these gyms, it's like being in an actual sporting stadium, and you get to have those huge Titan-sized Pokemon, which I don't know. I think it's really exciting. It adds something new. At least it adds a new aesthetic to the game. I think all the new Pokemon designs look really good. I feel like some of them, after generation and generation, have looked stale. But I think the ones they showed actually look pretty good.
You saw the Raven that's like a knight.
Yeah.
It's like very black, very, very dark colors.
Yeah.
That looked pretty different. How much can you do to a bird Pokemon to make it do that? That kind of was fairly striking to me.
Yeah. And then the sheep, people love that sheep.
I think it's one of the most ordinary things I've ever seen, but yeah, I agree. A lot of people are hopping on the sheep bandwagon.
Yeah, and when it comes to like picking up like tweets and stuff, I honestly only grabbed one because Twitter right now, if you type in Pokemon, it is extremely toxic. You don't know what you're going to get. And I stumbled across a few images that I'll probably never get out of my brain ever.
Oh my god.
And they're actually surrounding the sheep, which I find very weird. So I just had one tweet. This is from Sonia Mednick, and she said, "I am so hyped for Pokemon Sword and Shield. Like, I don't know the last time I've been this excited for a new Pokemon game. All the starters are so cute." And I actually like the starters a lot. Apparently they each have their own characteristics. Apparently, like Sobble cries when it feels threatened, or something like that, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, you can see like the little tears under his eyes.
Yeah. Apparently, it's like as potent as like 100 onions or something like that, as teardrops. So it's cool. I think they just really they passed what my expectations were for the game, because I literally thought this was just going to be like every other Pokemon game, but now it seems like, it kind of has that Breath of the Wild feeling. Like after I played that game, a lot of these other games feel very closed in, and for like what I said in the episode I talked about this, I just felt like a world as interesting as Pokemon deserves to have a more expansive world. You shouldn't be, tight-roping throughout the entire game on just certain paths. So the fact that you get to kind of explore the world a little bit, that to me is really exciting, and that's exactly what I asked for. And this is much like Sonia Mednick. This is something that I am legitimately now excited for, and I probably wasn't this. I probably haven't been this excited for a Pokemon game since Pokemon X and Y or Soul Silver.
Which version are you gonna get?
I was thinking about getting the Shield version just because I feel like most people are going to get the Sword version.
Yeah, probably have to take the Shield version too, but I'm leaning towards that Sword version just for the Dark Souls aspect of it. But I would hope that before, what happens with the other Pokemon games, you wind up knowing which Pokemon are in which version. So even if I kind of want the Sword dog over the Shield dog, there's a potential where Pokemon who do reside in the Shield Pokemon game are just more to my liking than the ones in the Sword Pokemon game. So we'll have to see what happens when those Pokemon come out. And other differences, there's always version differences other than the Pokemon that are in them. So we'll have to find out what that is before I can make a determination which one I get.
Yeah, I'm probably going to do the same thing. Obviously, you can hit up like Cerebi.net or I think that's what it's called still, right? It's .net.
Yeah, Cerebi.net. Yep, absolutely. Still kicking.
Yeah, so I mean that any information you need on Pokemon, you can always just head on over to there because that's probably what I'll do. But I didn't have like a ton of the details written down for this game, but I just thought that overall it just exceeded what I was expecting out of it, and I'm honestly really excited to get back into this and to try it out. I mean, this is the first actual Pokemon game this generation, and this is the best hardware it's ever been on.
Yeah, I'll probably wait until you get it and play it and say if it's good or bad or not, and then I'll make a decision if I want to play Pokemon again for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, now I know Emmy, our sister, she is super excited about this game.
Yeah, I mean, she's definitely going to get the Sword one. Just like me, she's a big Sith fan from Dark Souls.
Yeah.
A big fan of the dog. So she's definitely going to get Sword and is definitely excited about it.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if she ended up getting both.
I don't know about that. That's a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, apparently they do have a bundled version. I'm not sure if it's cheaper if you get the bundled version.
You know, it'd be nice if they brought back the third versions of the games.
That would be really interesting. I kind of feel like
half the money, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, that would be nice. I feel like they'll probably do like the sequel treatment to these though, if we're talking long term.
Yeah. Probably. That's what they've been doing in the other generations. I guess that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But, man, I remember when Mom brought home that Pokemon Emerald. Oh, my God. I was in the living room, and that brand new green shiny box. I was like, wow, this is the greatest thing ever. And it was. It was amazing.
I didn't know Mom got you that.
Yep. I think I just asked for it one day. There's little kids, right? It came out in 2005, maybe.
Wow, that long?
Yeah, I just asked for it. Mom, can you get me this? And I don't know if she gave me a straight answer or not, but maybe like an afternoon later she brought me. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. Still have that cartridge in my night table.
Well, because I think that you played my Sapphire game, and I guess I got mad at you because my character wasn't there anymore. It's not like I got far anyway.
I don't know what happened there. I don't remember. I think I probably put it. I don't remember. I know I did that to Emmy's Crystal. She was like, I don't know, a day into it. Yeah. Very, very short amount of time. She was very upset. But I think she got to catch Suicune, and I think I don't know if she got that far or not, but I think she did, and I erased it because those games didn't have multiple save files. I don't think they still do.
No, they don't.
So I don't know what happened with your Sapphire. I think when with your Sapphire, you had gotten to a certain point, and I'm like, you didn't want to play it anymore.
Yeah, because I was playing Leaf Green still, I think.
Okay, I'm like, well, I'll play it. And you're like, okay. And I think you had second thoughts after I'd beaten it.
Oh yeah, I think you beat it, and then for whatever reason, I got mad, and then I was like, screw you, I'm gonna delete this.
Right.
I don't really know what the thought process was behind that.
Yeah.
But it ended up getting you Emerald, I guess. So there's that.
Yeah, definitely. When I played that game, I just wanted more. I think it was in your Sapphire where I had not used the Master Ball on the Black Rayquaza.
Oh God. Yeah.
Oh my God. One of the probably worst video game memories ever. I didn't realize what I had. It was one of those things you don't realize you had. It was like I said, just a little kid, maybe I don't know, 12, 13, and I was just like, oh, don't worry, I'll just keep going back to him to see if I can find the Black Rayquaza again. No, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. One in many thousands and thousands of chance to get that.
Wow.
Get that. So I definitely regret that. You see, the thing is, if I had gotten that Black Rayquaza, he'd still be around in the games today. There's probably a way to bring him through Generation 3, through Generation 4, through Generation 5, through Generation 6, Generation 7, Generation 8. He'd still be around today in the most modern games. That's what really just bugs me.
I know, yeah, he could be in your Pokemon bank.
He could be. I could have just siphoned him from your game, put him in mine somehow. And
yeah.
But yeah, definitely regretful.
Well, at least you didn't catch him and I didn't delete your file.
Yeah.
Because that would have been even worse.
That would have been bad. That would have been like I succeeded, but still ultimately failed. I would feel better if it was like a shiny legendary in Generation 2, which cannot go into Generation 3. But
yeah. Oh man,
kind of a sad memory.
Well, imagine catching that and then your battery dies on your cartridge.
Something like that. There's probably a whole bunch of things that would have happened if I did catch him that would just not make it so, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it was for the best at the end of the day. I don't want to get too off topic here, but what bothered me about Emerald and Sapphire and Ruby, I know people are going to freak out because I said Sapphire and Ruby and not Ruby and Sapphire in that order. People are going to freak out like, what the hell's going on? But no, it always bothered me that you'd go to that space station and they would never take you to space.
Yeah, wouldn't it be cool if they had an in-game event where you can go to the moon and meet Jirachi? Why can't we have nice things when it comes to Pokemon?
They did weird things back then.
You know, oh, God.
You include something in the game that you're only going to introduce once or twice.
There are ROM hacks out there where you can get the Delta ticket for Deoxys, something like that. All those tickets had weird names. You can go to the islands. Like there's even an island with Ho-Oh and Lugia.
Yeah.
You can have like a Ho-Oh and Lugia island, some random ass island. Like the Mirage ticket, something like that. I think the Mirage ticket was for Mew, which is awesome. That's an Emerald-only area. That was pretty awesome back in the day. Why can't you have a special space mission with Jirachi? Why can't you do it? It's a video game. Use some creativity. Why does every interesting thing have to be an event that's impossible to get? I don't know. We can rant about unfortunate decisions by Pokemon forever, but I agree with you 100%. That would have been awesome.
It would have been a very memorable moment.
It would have been legendary. I mean, those games were legendary anyway. Why not just add more to it?
Especially because they tell you about it. That's like going in Kanto and then telling you about the SSN and then not being able to go on it.
Is that like in the Generation 2 games?
That's in the Kanto one. So
you can go to it early in the game, right? And once you do it once, it's done?
Yeah, use your ticket. I don't think it ever... I don't know if it really actually ever departs when you get on it. I think you go on it when it's coming back. At least that's how it is in Let's Go Pikachu. But it's like that's like, you know, them talking up something and then you can't go on it.
Yeah. There's a lot of regretful things they do. But I'm sure there's a cool ROM hack out there where you have all the tickets available to you. You can go to those areas. But I don't think there's one that can take you to Jirachi or elsewhere. It'd be nice if there was.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's probably some scam online or just a false information on there that tells you, beat the Elite Four 100 times, and then restart your game, and you can. When next time you get to the rocket ship, you can get to Jirachi. No, don't do that.
Yeah, it didn't work.
Yeah.
That's just it's so disappointing because that would have been awesome. Now heading back into this Sword and Shield game, I did not see anything about a day and night cycle. However, I did see a screenshot where the sky was purple. So I'm thinking that it might have been later on in the day. I honestly missed the day and night cycle.
So you didn't play Generation 7, right?
Was that Sun and Moon?
Yeah.
I did not.
I didn't either. I will get around to that. Probably never. Well, was there one in X and Y?
No.
Are you serious? Okay.
There was one in Diamond and Pearl, though, wasn't there?
Yes, there was.
Ruby and Sapphire, no.
Yes, Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. That's what's kind of frustrating about those games, too, because Generation 2 had it. How do you have something in Generation freaking 2 on Game Boy Color software, a day and night cycle, and take it away for Generation 3? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And bring it back 4. I'm pretty sure 5 had it. 5 had seasons as well. It's like you're on backwards in time. I don't know if X and Y had seasons or a day-night cycle. You're saying it does not have a day-night cycle.
No.
I haven't played enough to realize that. That's just horrendous. You got to have a day-night cycle.
I'm thinking that the reason why the Game Boy Advance games didn't have it was because, unlike the Game Boy Color cartridges, they didn't have timers.
There is something with the timer in. I think the timer is associated with the battery
I think so,
cell
too.
in the Game Boy Advance games.
But even so, that wasn't accurate time, though, I don't think, when you turned it on.
Generation 2 had a clock. I don't think Generation 3 did. Like, you couldn't look up you couldn't set the time. Although berries grow on a certain. That's the big thing about Generation 3. Berries grow.
That's right. So how did they do that?
I think there is an internal clock with that battery, but for whatever reason they didn't add a day-night cycle to that clock feature. And I don't think there's any way in Generation 3 games, at least in the Game Boy Advance Generation 3 games, I don't know what ROM hacks have done, etc., where you cannot see the physical clock. There is a code you can put in for Generation 2. There is a way to visit and change that clock.
Okay.
I didn't realize that about X and Y. I must not have played enough to either realize it or make sure it's a problem. I'd be horrendously disappointed if that is not on here for the Switch. You have to have a day-night cycle. Otherwise, It just feels stale. It's boring. I don't know if I mentioned this when we were talking about Saints Row 4 last week or 2 weeks ago. One of the things I hate about that game is it's nighttime all the time. It's boring.
God. Yeah, it
it's
would drive me crazy.
When you play GTA 5, what happens? It's day-night cycle. I mean, it's like almost annoying when it's very refreshing when you go from day to dusk to night to dawn, etc.
Yeah.
Sekiro and Dark Souls 3 and Bloodborne, you have this day-night cycle, but as you progress through the game, the sky changes. So it's a little bit different, but at least they have something. To be daytime all the time really is inexcusable for Pokemon in 2019 when Generation 2 did it in 1998.
Yeah.
So they need to make sure that's in there, or that's just horrendous, especially with all that color.
Yeah.
One of the best things about Heart Gold and Soul Silver is when you go to catch Ho-Oh at dusk, it's like all this fall-esque orange dust colors, blue and orange and purple, and you go up on the tin tower and he's sitting there, and when you play him, it's like this orange, blue, and purple tint. It reminds you of dust. It's like you're really playing as the sun's setting. I mean, you got to have those moments in these newer games when you have the hardware. There's no excuse. Generation 2 started it. It's got to be in all of them.
Yeah.
It's got to be in the newest one.
Yeah.
They can use that type of, as the sun sets or the sun rises in some cinematic elements of these games. I mean, it's done all the time, and it really adds a breathing, living effect to the games.
Yeah.
So if they don't have that in there, I'd be fairly disappointed. I hope they do. Hopefully that purple thing was a hint that there is a dusk, dawn, night, day thing in there.
I hope so too, because one of my favorite things about Diamond and Pearl was when it was nighttime, you go to that one area. I forget if it's like I forget what it is, but it's like a shrine or something. And you go inside the building, and then you can catch certain Pokemon at night. Like, I like that. I like how it feels more like a living and breathing world when it's like that. So,
yeah, I mean, you could say the same thing with Generation 5, right?
Yeah.
When the seasons put snow on the ground so you can get to higher elevations in certain places.
Yeah.
It adds a lot of replayability and revisiting to your games.
Yeah.
Here's a even better example. Generation 2, only certain Pokemon would come out at night. Generation 2, they had that type of thing.
Yeah.
Inexcusable if that doesn't show up in newer iterations of Pokemon.
And especially with these new environments that you can now explore with full camera control. You have all these beautiful environments. I want to be able to go there at night and see ghost Pokemon floating around.
Exactly. Yes.
That'd be awesome.
They have to have that in there. They have to. That's like Legend of Zelda, right? Ocarina of Time. When you're in Hyrule Field in daytime, I don't know if there's much there.
Not much, yeah.
In Twilight Princess Hyrule Field, you have those cactuses, I think, that chase you around, and some pigs in the big, in the, I guess the western Hyrule Field. But in Ocarina of Time, the skeleton things come out at night. So that'd be kind of a Pokemon be following that legacy with ghost Pokemon at nighttime, or at least in certain areas, right? Like if they have like a graveyard or something like that.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild does the same thing.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Breath of the Wild has some precedent there. I mean, Zelda's been doing that for a long time, so that'd be cool. Pokemon has a feature similar to that.
Yeah, and I think that they're getting a lot of inspiration from Breath of the Wild, so that's why I'm hoping there is, that, night and day cycle. I kind of wish it was Animal Crossing style, though, in real time, but I can see how that would kind of be annoying because Animal Crossing, if you're trying to catch like a scorpion or a tarantula, you have to wait super late into the night, and it's probably not the best thing for Pokemon where you're trying to complete your Pokédex.
Yeah, I mean, kids who are, have summer vacation. Well, these come out in November, so that's not going to help them.
No.
But it's easier for, I think, younger kids to stay up later with these games, and there will be early 20, late 20 people, probably people in their 30s playing this who have to go to work early that can't deal with that Animal Crossing style, although that would be the most realistic. I think Generation 5 did it the most, where within 3 months you can visit the Four Seasons or something like that.
Yeah.
All the 4 seasons worth of features are available to you in a shorter period of time. That's the best way to do it.
Yeah, so I think if they did it like Stardew Valley-esque, in that way. Stardew Valley, I don't know how familiar you are with that game.
Not really, no.
So basically you have like a day, but it's on like an accelerated clock. This is probably a little bit too dramatic for Pokemon, but you're basically on an accelerated clock, then you have to go to sleep, and then it starts over again. I wouldn't want that for Pokemon, but something not as fast, because you could probably get done a day in like 10 minutes, like an entire day.
Okay.
Probably less than that.
Remember Yu-Gi-Oh! Nightmare Troubadour?
Yeah.
The longer your duels went on, more daytime would go. You can only stay a certain amount of time at night before you were forced to go back home and go to bed.
I remember that, yeah. Yeah, that game actually was... We're definitely going to have to talk about that game at some point. Because that game was excellent, even though it had like a serious bug that I encountered like thrice.
Yeah, I know at least twice I think my game crashed because that was one of those classic games I used an action replay with.
Oh, really?
Yep, and of course, what other cheat code would you want to use on that game but getting all the cards, which it didn't give me. It should have given me 3 of every card. I don't know why this cheat code is so messed up, but it would give me 3 of some, and some wouldn't show up at all. We can go on and on about that game, but yeah, it's definitely buggy.
Yeah, we'll definitely get to that game at some point because that was definitely one of my favorite DS games of all time. Now, this next game on the list, we're going to move from Pokemon. This next game was actually a game I wanted to talk about too, but I never expected to talk about it in this way. And that is Spongebob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrate. This is what THQ Nordic tweeted out. They said, "Who lives in a pineapple under the sea but isn't coming to E3? SpongeBob is coming to PC and consoles." He went ahead and tagged Nickelodeon Purple Lamp, who's the development team, and THQ Nordic. "We are happy to announce SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated," which is pretty crazy. I don't know how you feel about this, but this is actually, to me, is freaking awesome.
We talked a couple weeks ago about my first video game was being Sonic 2, but my first video game on PlayStation 2 was SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom. And from the get-go, it was just an amazing game, very authentic. You go to Jellyfish Fields right away, popular area in the show. It's SpongeBob's voice in the video game. It's Tom Kearney. It's a shame that some other voice actor are not the genuine ones, but it's like Mr. Krabs or whatever, big deal. The gameplay is really amazing, and for those who haven't played that game before, it's almost like a Super Mario 64 copycat, only SpongeBob. I mean, you collect gold spatulas instead of stars, and you play as SpongeBob in some areas, and Sandy in some areas, and Patrick in some areas. I think Sandy is really fun because you get to loop around with her lasso for certain Texas emblems. I always looked forward to playing her part. You go back to that game now, it looks like absolute crap through no fault of its own. Same thing about Simpsons Hit and Run and other games on PS2, which at the time, when you play Sega Genesis and all the 2D games, when you get to PlayStation 2, these games are absolutely revolutionary. Same with Twilight Princess for me when the Wii came out. I'd never seen anything as beautiful and well thought out and rich in my life. But with SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom was a fresh new experience I've never had before. Couple it with its amazing gameplay, it was an experience I still kind of think about from time to time. And there's been a lot. You go on the internet, people talking about on threads what game really needs remaster. This game is almost always mentioned. just because it's just a thorough, fun, simplistic game experience. I'm really wondering what they'll do, how good they're going to make this look. I mean, I can't even imagine them being incredibly genuine with at least how SpongeBob looks. We know how SpongeBob looks on the TV show. I mean, how clean are they going to make this look? Are they just going to clean up the graphics from the old look? Because it looks pretty terrible by today's standards. So I'm really looking forward to the potential of this. I don't think they showed any images from the game yet. I think SpongeBob is the one that just looks kind of wonky. Some of the other I think if you go back and look at Patrick and Sandy, they look just fine. Same with the NPCs like Mr. Krabs, etc. Would be wild as they add more playable characters, but that game is really built around those three.
Yeah.
They really could touch up SpongeBob and make the environment a little bit brighter. I think a lot of those areas are fairly dull, at least compared to modern day standards. So if they brighten that up a bit, you'd have a really special experience that's probably just as fresh as the first time you played it. It really is that good. I mean, they give you abilities, all the bubble abilities, like the Viking Helmet 1 and my personal favorite, the Guided Missile. When you get that really changes things up. But there's things to collect, like Patrick's socks. I think when you get enough of those, he gives you golden spatulas. I mean, it'd be nice if they added to the gameplay as well, maybe some better epilogue, or added a few levels from later on in the series, etc. So I'm really excited about it. Very, very happy to hear that they're rehydrating it.
Yeah. Now, we talked about this before we started recording. I didn't want to show you any of these images, but if you go on Steam right now, you can actually look up the images of the character models. It's kind of a mix between the show and their old character models, but everything is being completely redone.
Yeah, even from that image you're showing me now, I mean, that looks really vibrant. So if the game ultimately looks like that, that looks adorable.
It's
almost like a Wind Waker-esque. Yeah, it definitely has that classic look, but they've definitely touched it up.
Yeah, so it's going to be all redone, and it has a decent amount of bloom in there, similar to Wind Waker. It's very similar style, so
yeah.
That's exactly right. And I think you'll be happy with a lot of the things that they actually ended up putting on the description in here. It's funny, though, because, Steam has those system requirements and release dates and all that.
Right.
For the system requirements for everything, for, like, operating system, processor, graphics, for, like, the minimum and the recommended, every single thing on here says, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready. So you can go ahead and take a look at that.
That's right. I guess these are just kind of placeholders for right now.
Yeah.
So we'll see what they add in their places.
So, and then the release date also says, which is pretty funny, release date, in parentheses, when I'm ready. So I thought that was pretty clever. But there's actually some pretty awesome things that they're going to be including. So under the About This Game, and I don't know if you saw the teaser trailer.
No, I didn't.
The teaser trailer is, I don't know if I can play it without it being copyright, but basically he does like the magic conch shell type thing, but you just hear a whole bunch of people behind him. That's the entire trailer.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Now the description on that video and on the Steam store, it says, "Are you ready, kids? The cult classic is back, faithfully remade in sponge-tastic splendor. Play as SpongeBob, Patrick, and Sandy, and show the evil plankton that crime pays even less than Mr. Krabs. Want to save Bikini Bottom from lots of rampant robots with your mighty bubbles? Of course you do. Want to go underpants bungee jump? Why wouldn't you? Want to join forces in a brand new multiplayer mode? The battle is on."
Who knows what that's supposed to be? I wonder if you can co-op bosses and stuff. I mean, that'd be crazy.
So that they actually, I think they do address that here in the game features. So the game features play as SpongeBob, Patrick, and Sandy and use their unique sets of skills, which we already know that. Thwart Plankton's evil plan to rule Bikini Bottom with his army of wacky robots. Meet countless characters from the beloved series. Now that was just like, I guess, that didn't really sound like features to me, but now here's a remake features. It's a faithful remake of one of the best SpongeBob games ever created. High-end visuals, modern resolutions, and carefully polished gameplay. Brand new Horde mode multiplayer for up to 2 players online and split screen. Restored content that was cut from the original game,
Wow.
like Robo Squidward boss fight and more. I think there's an Anchor Arm SpongeBob boss fight in there too.
Wow. Okay. I'd like to see some voice acting, like Tom Clancy Jones. I forget Mr. Krabs' voice actor. It'd be amazing. One of the things that frustrates me about the old game is that Mr. Krabs' voice actor is not there. I think it actually may be Tom Kearney.
That sounds right.
Tom Kenny. I forget how to pronounce his last name. Doing Mr. Krabs' voice. It'd be nice if they could get his voice actor for this game.
Yeah, I think that would be freaking awesome. Now this game is going to be developed by Purple Lamp, which I guess is a development team that is under the THQ Nordic umbrella. Back when it was released before, it was Heavy Iron Studios, but they unfortunately or fortunately went independent in 2009. I'm not sure if they even do anything anymore. So Purple Lamp, this might kind of be their first main game that they're doing. So it looks like from those images, though, that they're doing a good job polishing it up. Now there's some reaction on Twitter. Obviously, this got probably more positive reaction than Pokemon did. So we have at Marcusus. He says, "I can't believe this is happening. I'm so excited." Salty DK Dan just realized that if I play the new SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom on my Switch, I'll be able to play it with a GameCube controller, the exact controller I played the first game with as a kid. So I'm going to be doing that now. And then ELT Elite says, "So now that we're finally getting a remaster of SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom, can Simpsons Hit and Run be next?"
Yeah, that's like the 1-2 punch, right?
Yeah.
It's obvious that this has been something, again, that's been on these lists, that games that deserve a remake for a long time, and it's well renowned. There's no controversy around this game. I mean, it's just a standard, solid platformer.
Yeah.
That has one of the greatest cartoons ever made as its substance. So, yeah, I mean, people have been talking about this, and then they got it. I mean, people have been, I guess, paying attention online, and we're going to get rewarded with this game. I don't think this is going to be too difficult to screw up. You said adjustments to gameplay. Hopefully they make the controls just more responsive and make SpongeBob more controllable instead of that rotating thing he does in the old game. So, yeah, I mean, it's great to see people are excited. Simpsons Hit and Run being the next one that definitely needs a remake, a nice PG-13 GTA variation. But the SpongeBob thing, it's kind of a no-brainer, really. I mean, and SpongeBob has been going on since this game come out. So there's going to be a lot of new people who didn't get the chance to play this on the PlayStation 2 when they were just little kids who were still fans of SpongeBob, getting in on this action for every platform next year. So this is a no-brainer. Maybe this will open the door up to, it's a great formula. Maybe this will open things up to a new SpongeBob game with even more different stuff at a couple of years from now.
Yeah.
So interesting to watch.
Yeah, I think that is going to be just really cool just to see how all these new game players that have grown up with SpongeBob 2, that just were too young back then to really know about this game, how they take to this. And the fact that, I mean, this game really, it almost feels like it had no right to be as good as it was. Like, this was like this is considered a classic platforming game. Like, people talk about this and they talk about it, next to, like the Marios and, the Banjo-Kazooie and all like the different types of, platformer / collectathon type games. This move kind of came out of nowhere. Like, I feel like no one really expected this game to truly get, like, this remastering.
Yeah, just a really big wish list item that no one knew anything about. This could be a real thing, and it is.
Yeah, so seeing that just, like, come out of nowhere right before E3, I mean, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's like Christmas 6 months early.
Yeah.
And it's going to be great to revisit a lot of those areas. I mean, it is, in essence, Super Mario 64, which a lot of people consider one of the greatest games of all time.
Yeah.
And it's, instead of Mario, it's SpongeBob with Patrick and Sandy. and the Mermalair and Rock Bottom and that shipyard with the Flying Dutchman, and you go to the kelp forest. Hopefully they brighten that level up.
I'm sure they will, yeah.
But Jellyfish Fields and downtown. It was just going through that game for the first time. It's like, oh man, all these areas are like the famous areas from the show. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty surreal though, seeing everything kind of brought into that bloomy HD visual.
Yeah, it'll be incredible.
Textures and the touched up voice acting, touched up animations, just the whole thing. It actually doesn't even seem like a remastering. I'm pretty sure this is just a complete full-on rebuild, brand new engine, brand new everything. So they're actually going through and just creating everything from scratch.
Clancy Brown is the voice actor for Mr. Krabs. If they bring him in here, I can overlook a lot of the things that maybe even make the game more impressive. But if they bring all the voice actors in, that'll really keep me engaged for this. I'm probably going to get it anyway, but if I know that, I'm definitely going to get it.
Yeah, I think that'd be awesome. To me, this kind of makes up for Maroon 5 not singing the sweet victory in the Super Bowl.
Right, or that pathetic attempt at it they did. It really is. It's poetic justice.
Yeah.
Lose out on one SpongeBob thing to get another. It's amazing.
It really is awesome. So, everyone that's seeing this now, they're all on this remastering craze. They want to see the Simpsons Hit and Run remaster. And apparently, the Simpsons creators are going to be at E3 this year, and they're going to be having their own panel. This comes per the official E3 Twitter. They said more exceeding. I can't even pronounce these words. More exciting E3 Coliseum news. Join the writers and producers of The Simpsons for a panel on June 11th. More info to come. This probably doesn't mean anything, but the last time that The Simpsons showed off, or last time a company showed off a Simpsons game at E3, it really wasn't talked about a whole lot prior to it happening. So, hypothetically, if this were to happen, even if it's like a brand new game in that series, even if it's not a remastering, that would be huge.
SpongeBob and Simpsons are a lot of similarities. They've got iconic episodes. Obviously, the show's, some of the show is very, very funny, classic TV. A whole bunch of things you may be aware of from these shows, but you've never actually watched the show, right? Steamed hams from The Simpsons. Most people, I would say a lot of people who know about the steamed hams thing with Principal Skinner and Superintendent Chalmers may not have watched the episode that was in and just know it from the memes online of people doing different versions of that. The Simpsons have a lot of substance to make a video game around. And what if it's a brand new game, a hit and run too, and bring a lot of the missions in that game? And it really is. It's like a PG-13 version of GTA, of Grand Theft Auto. It would be exciting to see a brand new game, Hit and Run 2, Hit and Run remastered, and add the missions based on the last 30 seasons worth of Simpsons.
Yeah.
I would hope, as a classic Simpsons fan, they'd bring a lot of the classic stuff in it that may be more similar to the old game, which it may just be safer to do Hit and Run remastered. But they've got a lot to make a game with. And they've had so many different vehicles in their history to drive around in and characters to communicate with and playable characters. Let's say instead of Bart, Marge, Lisa, and Apu, and Homer, of course, you have Chief Wiggum, you have Moe, you have Barney, you have Ned as playable characters now. And they have a whole bunch of different things they've said. An absolute you can say the same thing with SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom. They probably could have, if they wanted to, added more levels with more characters in it, but it's probably best they're sticking with the three that the game was built around.
Yeah.
But you Simpsons, those characters in Simpsons Hit and Run original had certain levels. Why don't you just make it choose any character? They can have like 50 different characters from the show that you can choose and have them drive around in any car they want, crashing through buildings and stuff like that. You make the world more breakable, a lot like where GTA wound up. So I would hope that they would add to this potential hit and run variation, if that is what they have cooking up for us.
Yeah, I hope so too. I mean, I think that this would be really interesting. Part of me kind of questions what the market for it would be at this point in time, but I'm assuming all the fans that were a fan of it before, and then a lot of Simpsons fans that never really got a chance to get in on that action, similar to Battle for Bikini Bottom. I just remember there was a lot of like really iconic cars. Like, remember that jet car that you could get?
Yeah.
Like, finding those special cars in that game, to me, I mean, back then I feel like I didn't really understand gaming that much. I mean, I was still pretty young back then. Like, the new like 3D games and stuff, when it was kind of like more difficult, I kind of had a hard time like getting into that. But there was just, I mean, there was so many like cool moments in that game and cool vehicles and the destruction, and it was kind of like baby's first GTA in a way. But there was just so many good references in the billboards, like the "Don't eat
That's right.
beef, eat deer" or something.
That's right. Don't eat beef, eat deer. Yep.
Like, it's just, there's so many cool references, and I also have like fond memories of like, Dad and Uncle Artie playing it. When Uncle Artie would come over and they would just kind of drive through that, and they're not huge game players, but they're Simpsons fans of like the classic Simpsons.
Right.
I just thought that was awesome. I feel like there's just, whenever you can get a game that kind of reaches beyond, the normal target audience like that, and people that aren't really even into games are sitting there and laughing at it and enjoying it and, want to play it. I just think that's awesome. And I'd love to see them kind of bring that back. And I feel like if they can get something that resonates with the older Simpsons fans, the newer Simpsons fans, and really just gamers in general, I think that would just be really, really, really cool.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot for The Simpsons to offer people. Most people have good memories with The Simpsons, and it really, I mean, these two games, SpongeBob and The Simpsons Hit and Run game, they there's a lot to revisit with newer versions of these, and it would reach a lot of people. And even though there's probably a ton of people that still watch The Simpsons, even though it's not as good as it was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you market that as a GTA game, and, I mean, that's the things that, when I played GTA 5, pretty much the two GTA-type games I played in my life were Simpsons Hit and Run and then GTA 5. And as I'm playing GTA 5, I was like, wow, I mean, this is like Simpsons Hit and Run on steroids.
Or on crack.
Or on crack. The rocket car is the best example of just finding things. In the Simpsons Hit and Run, you could be, I think you are Bart in this case, that from the TV show, Hans Moleman crashes his like pink Cadillac inside a building like 2 stories up. It makes no sense how he got up there. In the game, I think this is the 6th level of the game, the penultimate level. Bart can go to this theater or wherever Moleman crashed this car. He can go to where the car is crashed in the game, back out of the hole, and drive the crashed car around. Same thing, Bart, again, in the 2nd level, I think Bart is. The monorail that's all messed up, you can actually get up on the rails, get into the front car, drive that off the rails, fall down onto the road, and drive that around. Unbelievable in terms of the interaction you have with what happened in the show in the game. And they can expand on that. They can add more. In GTA 5, you can take that just ridiculously big truck with the huge-ass wheels. It's like a construction vehicle.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
In the one area, and just take it and just crush cars on the road. They can add more things like that in there, and just make it just completely just mind-blowing. You just make the levels more, make them bigger, and throw more stuff in there for us to find, and be like, yeah, I remember when that happened, because there's already a lot in there. Make it better. Make this sequel and throw more stuff in there for us to find, and make us feel like we're finding this for the first time.
Yeah.
It's not just Simpsons fans who'd be interested in doing that. That type of finding anyone can appeal towards. And if it's nice and colorful, if you've got a lot of characters to play as, in a big expansive world that younger people can enjoy too, and people who may not even be gamers who just want to experience this and see all those references. It would appeal to them a lot.
I just think that'd be so cool. I completely forgot about the whole monorail thing. Because isn't it like crushed in the back or something? Or it has some kind of...
Yeah, it's like accordioned, I guess you could say. It's all jumbled up on the rails. So
Yeah.
the front car is available to you.
Okay. Because I remember when you're inside the cars, you could drive them, and then you could make them like explode. But if you get out of them in time, you can get back into like the exploded car and start it back up again. And like...
I think you are correct. Yeah. I think you can drive the shell.
Yeah. Which that to me always cracked me up.
Yeah, it's a nice touch, right?
Yeah, yeah. The dialogue in that game was awesome. There was a lot of dialogue references. There was different costumes.
I was going to say that's the thing we haven't talked about yet. The outfits are outrageous.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much for The Simpsons to offer. Like the Simpsons, I think Homer can dress up in that devil outfit, or when he turns into a donut. Whereas it's like head's got a donut piece bitten off.
I did not remember that.
Yeah, I think in the show he like pulls donut from his head and eats it, and that's why in the video game there's like a chunk missing when his head's a donut. It's fantastic.
I did not remember that. That is crazy.
Yeah, I mean he's got a whole bunch of costumes. The Moo from when he like gets all fat, so he doesn't have to go to work or something like that, so he's on disability.
Oh wow,
that's all in there. Bartman where he has the cape. When Lisa's a beatnik. I mean, oh my goodness. I mean, that a lot of people, when they play Dark Souls and Bloodborne, it's all about the fashion souls. It's all about how you dress and the different combinations you have. I mean, Simpsons Hit and Run, they had all those costumes like way back when. And there's just, when you combine all the 6 characters, you could go even further if you add more characters. And there's no reason why you can't, because essentially all those characters acted the same way. There wasn't a whole lot of variety between them all.
Yeah.
If you have more characters, that means you can have more outfits. It's just like you can play in many different ways. And you probably can combine outfits too.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff that can happen.
And costumes that you can get without having to use microtransactions to wear them. Yeah, what year is that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what year is it?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of those things back then are just way ahead of their time. And they were managed so much better than how things are managed today. And I mean, I don't know how likely this is to happening, but honestly, I mean, after the reception that SpongeBob got, I mean, if you're sitting there, I forget what company managed that game, but if you're sitting there and you have the rights to The Simpsons, I mean, why wouldn't you want to do something like that?
Yeah. If I had made a game like that and I'd seen someone remaster 16 years after the first one came out, I'd be interested in making my game again because it was just as, if not more popular than the SpongeBob one.
Yeah, I think that would be really, really awesome. So I'm guessing I was probably going to move on to the next topic. Did you have anything else to say about The Simpsons, or?
No, I just hope they give us something good.
I hope so too. I think if that ended up being an announcement or even a sequel like we were talking about, man, that is going to be it's going to be one of the biggest E3 announcements, at least for me personally, because I'd actually be able to enjoy it fully this time because I would understand what I was doing. Before I move on, I just wanted to... Did you remember when you used to be able to go to Chief Wiggum's house and you'd go to the backyard and you'd see Ralph in the sandbox?
That's right, yeah.
And you could just ask him like a whole bunch of like random stuff and he would say weird things?
Yeah, he'd have lines from the show like, my doctor said my nose wouldn't bleed as much if I kept my finger out of there. And in that game, you can like kick Ralph and any other character and they'll say stuff like, he's touching my special area. And eventually the cops come and try to get you.
Yeah. Oh my god.
That would just be, like I said, a lot of different things they can do, and how you interact with the world is second to none.
Yeah, I think that would be really, really, really awesome. And I hope if they do make a Simpsons game, I hope it maintains that hit and run thing, and I hope it's not like a South Park style of game.
Yeah, I mean that's nothing but action in that Simpsons game. That's what we need. We need more GTA type games, sandbox type games that keep you engaged, and Simpsons did a great job of that.
Yeah, I think it would be perfect. So this next one's kind of like a throwaway like headline, and it's one that I don't particularly care too much about. But Microsoft is making an Xbox body wash, shower gel, and deodorant called Xbox Lynx. This is from the makers of Axe Body Spray, set to release exclusively in Australia this July. Business group lead for the Xbox Australia, Tania Chi, I guess that's, or Tania Che, something like that. She made a statement regarding the new spray. We see Xbox fans achieve incredible things every day, and we wanted to celebrate that elevated skill, passion, and determination by creating something truly special. Now powering up can be as simple as a quick spray before you head out the door. So if you were curious as to what this spray is going to smell like, it's not going to smell like a console. It's going to smell like citrus and various herbs, I guess. And the description's kind of ridiculous, and if I went out and tried to read it, it would just be a complete jumbled mess. But I'm going to be completely honest with you. When I started this podcast, I never in a million years thought I'd be talking about body wash, shower gel, and deodorant on an episode.
Yeah. Kind of just a random thing. They're just using that brand to push product, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird. This next one is more in line with something I am interested in. iOS 13 is going to include PS4 and Xbox One controller support. So Apple TV, iPhone, and iPad will be getting full controller support thanks to the new TV OS 13 update this fall. Apple Arcade also releases in fall. That is Apple's streaming service. So I think it's actually really interesting that Sony and Microsoft are allowing Apple to be able to use their controllers. But if you think about it, this is a win-win. One, this screws Google over. And two, at least in PlayStation's situation, you have PlayStation 4 Remote Play. This now allows you to play your PlayStation wherever you are on your iPhone or iPad or Apple TV remotely and be able to use an actual physical controller. I'm actually really excited about this feature.
So you can play Bloodborne on your iPhone?
Yeah, that's how it's going to be. Right now, they just introduced a better, or I guess they actually just introduced this feature on the Apple products maybe last year, or at least it's a better version of what it was before. I think before it used to be kind of limited to Sony's phones and maybe Android, if I remember correctly. But you can actually play those games, and there's not a ton of lag with them. The biggest issue is really just the controls.
Okay, well, I guess these having the controllers then will help that out.
Yeah, it's going to be big, and it's actually really neat because not only are you going to have that support with the controllers, but with your phone's microphone, you'll be able to access the PlayStation Party Chat and Xbox Party Chat and be able to communicate with your friends. So I think that's pretty neat.
That's pretty crazy.
So you're basically going to have a little portable PlayStation 4 going everywhere with you. This kind of replaces the PlayStation Vita back when the PlayStation Vita did something similar. But of course, now you're on updated technology with a little bit more features. So I think that's really awesome.
That's great. I'm probably never going to do it because I don't really buy Apple stuff. But, this is pretty exciting. I didn't realize you could use the voice chat with the speaker. That's great that they're using the technology that's right there.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I thought that was neat. Something that was kind of long overdue, in my opinion, just because the Apple third-party controllers kind of suck. So it's nice to see that they're introducing official support of PlayStation 4 and Xbox controllers without some crazy workaround that you probably shouldn't be doing with your iOS device. This next story is basically just kind of a Microsoft type of deal here, where Microsoft is planning on making up for Sony's absence at E3. Obviously, Sony is not going to be at E3. They're taking this year off, so you're not going to see The Last of Us 2. You're not going to see anything from Sony this E3. They're taking the year off to presumably prepare for the PlayStation 5, which will probably be announced sometime, anytime. So they're just kind of taking it off. They're going to go quiet. And now Microsoft has the floor to unveil whatever they're planning on unveiling. So the official Xbox account tweeted, "We invited something new to Xbox E3 this year." And Phil Spencer also tweeted out, "Just finishing our final E3 rehearsal here with the team in Redmond. Feel really good about the briefing. What's about the briefing? What's the show we've had?" I don't think that makes any sense. "We have 14 Xbox game studios in the show this year. More first-party games than we've ever had in the show. Fun times." So 14 Xbox game studios included in that is going to be their newest acquisition, which was Obsidian, the original creators of Fallout. And their game is going to be The Outer Worlds. As far as I know, that will not be an Xbox exclusive, but it's going to be probably shown at the Xbox conference. So big year for Xbox. I think even though I always kind of side on the Nintendo interest levels here with E3, that's always kind of where my antennas are pointed. Just because I've always pretty much owned Nintendo systems now for, I guess, the last over 10 years or whatever. So I'm usually always interested in that. And Microsoft consoles I usually don't buy. But despite that, I think Microsoft, because of the new system that they're going to be announcing, their new strategies, all of that, it seems like they're doubling down on games this time around rather than it being a piece of your entertainment setup like how Don Matrick did the Xbox One. It seems like they are really going to be focusing heavy on first-party games, which is something Xbox One had a hard time with. So I think this is really interesting, and I think Xbox kind of remains the most intriguing piece at E3 this year. So I'm really interested to see what they end up doing and what they end up showing off at this new conference.
They've got, I think they've got 2 hours to share with what they've got this year, which I've read is 20 minutes longer than last year, which they revealed like a million things last year. So who knows what they have in store, but they've got a lot of time on their hands, so I guess they'll use every second of it.
Yeah, that's going to be, I mean, I feel like they have the right leader now, where before it seemed like Don Matrick was definitely more of a corporate guy. Phil Spencer is definitely in the corner of the gamers, and the fact that now he's going to get to show off his vision for the Xbox brand, I think that Xbox fans should be really excited. And, I mean, with them just having the floor with really no other competition, I think this is going to be a big win for Xbox this time around.
Yeah, they'll have a lot of audience.
Yeah, I mean, all ears and eyes are going to be fixated on Microsoft this E3. This next news story, not a game series that I'm particularly involved with, and when I mean that, it means I never really played any of these games, and that's the Watch Dogs series. There was a series of leaks that came out, and basically these leaks kind of indicated that Ubisoft was going to be gearing this gameplay of this new Watch Dogs game called Watch Dogs Legion, and it would be based around being able to control like multiple NPC, like every character in the game was controllable, which is kind of cool. That was based, I guess, on a deleted Amazon post that was not supposed to be posted. So good job, Amazon. You kind of gave us a little peek as to what to expect. But yeah, so Ubisoft basically went ahead and just confirmed the rumors on Twitter, and they basically just said that Watch Dogs Legion is going to be coming out, and it's going to be at E3. So not really super, climatic, I guess, but it is what it is. And there's also a leak about a Ubisoft paid subscription service because everyone else has one, so why not Ubisoft as well? That was on VG247, and it basically said that the Ubisoft Pass Premium was spotted on the Ubisoft store. And VG247 is basically a website where people go ahead and submit articles So they did have a screenshot of it, so I don't really have a reason to not believe that. They usually only post things that are, from a reliable source. So, yeah, another subscription service to go with EA, Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, everyone else. So, and it's also said that Bethesda might be doing something similar as well. So, not really super exciting to me because I don't really typically buy a ton of Ubisoft games. I think the last one I bought was The Division 2. So, I don't know. I guess the paid subscription services are okay if there's a lot of value, but if they don't offer a ton of value, then to me, there's not really a reason to be stacking up on all of these subscriptions because there's a lot of them. This next piece, Square Enix Marvel Avengers game will be shown at E3, and there was a possible leak. This is from PCGamer.com, and basically there was a leak about the game's description, and this was from the E3 Coliseum website. So E3 actually leaked this themselves. Good job, E3. And this one was a little description that said, "Embrace your powers and join key members of the development team at Crystal Dynamics and the creative team at Marvel Games as they talk exclusively about the upcoming Marvel Avengers game. This is the defining Avengers game experience, an epic action adventure. They combine cinematic storytelling with continuous single-player cooperative gameplay, moderated by Andrea Renee, who is from What's Good Games, and she is also a contributor at Kinda Funny. The symbol in teams of four players master extraordinary details, customize your heroes to figure play style, and combine powers to defend an ever-expanding world under constant threat." Oh my god, I'm running out of breath with this thing. So basically, it's going to be some kind of showcase. I mean, I assume that most people knew that was going to be the case anyway. But yeah, I'm completely out of breath from that.
Is this like a fighting game?
I think so.
Just a big roster, and you fight Iron Man versus Thanos and stuff?
It seems like it's going to be something similar to that. But it's weird, though, because Nintendo is also having like a Marvel Alliance game that's coming out, and that looks like that's just a fighting game.
Yeah, there's been other Capcom versus Marvel games, haven't there? There's like a whole line of that where you pick people from those two universes to fight.
Well, those ones, though, I think are okay. I see what you mean. So those ones are actually like fighting games. These are like brawler games.
Okay, like Smash Brothers type thing, only Avengers.
Well, it's in like a 3D space, and
that sounds like a mess.
Yeah, I don't know how this one's going to be, but the Pokemon, it's fixated on Pokemon. Oh man. The Marvel Alliance game is just this 3D open space game where you have 4 players that basically just beating the crap out of enemies.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a mess, I guess. I guess that's the word you used. It sounds like a mess.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming this one's going to be similar. I don't really know.
There are other Alliance games, right?
There are,
like
yeah.
Spider-Man's on the cover and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's how it's going to be. But beyond that, I'm not really sure. Final Fantasy VII remake, also coming from Square Enix. It should receive a release date. There's speculation and fear from fans that have the current generation consoles that this game will get a release date, but it'll be exclusive to the PlayStation 5 and new Xbox. That's not going to happen. I can almost guarantee it. I'm sure it'll be across all those platforms when it does see its release, so don't really worry too much about that. I know that's something that our sister is really looking forward to. That's all she talks about whenever you bring up video games. So I'm pretty sure she'll get her wish, and I'm sure it'll be on PlayStation 4. Another story that I don't really have a ton of connection with, Batman Arkham developers Rocksteady Studios will be absent from E3. The game director and co-founder, Sefton Hill, posted this on Twitter. Hi, all. A number of you have asked, so we wanted to let you know up front that Rocksteady Games won't be showing at E3 this year. We will be watching us as fans, but remaining in London. We'll be working hard at work on our next big project. Enjoy the show. Sometimes I'm good at reading this stuff, and other times I am just not. Tonight is one of the nights that I'm just a little bit off, but that's okay. So not a big Rocksteady or Batman Arkham game fan. I know they're working on a different project that isn't Batman, but that's obviously not ready yet, and heavy speculation indicates that it's going to be on a PlayStation. It's going to be a PlayStation 5 and new Xbox game, so it'll be on next-gen hardware, not on the current generation system. So we're kind of reaching that point in time where these new games are now going to be starting to get developed on there. I will say, though, I think that the Xbox One X possibly will be in that category as a system that kind of gets supported halfway through that generation, but we'll kind of see what happens with that. This next little piece here is that in a 45-minute presentation, Nintendo could be revealing the next Smash Bros. DLC character. That's kind of a given. I feel like it would be the most logical thing to end their presentation with the Smash Bros. Character, or at least a teaser or something, because, I mean, I feel like it's kind of been a while since Smash Bros. Announced that they were going to have those characters, and I think that, I mean, why wouldn't they show it at E3 this year?
Well, I think the DLC was supposed to be, they keep giving us stuff until February 2020. So, yeah, it's about time we have some more news on character number 2. There was a leak that I think is still unverified from 4chan. There's some Pokemon information that came out before the trailer yesterday. In the same posting, there was some, again, unverified information from Smash. So this may be spoilers for the Smash characters. And again, this may just be a flat-out lie. Erdrick from Dragon Quest, I have no idea what that game is or who that character is in Smash, according to this unverified information. And Doom Guy from Doom.
Ooh, that'd be a nice one.
Yeah, so that's just, again, that may be completely false. That's just what some person said. I'm still rooting for Solaire from Dark Souls to be there. You know, there's a lot of team play in Smash Brothers 2, and the symbol for cooperation, Jolly Co-op as it's called in Bloodborne and Dark Souls, is Solaire. So I'd really like to see him, a lot of different clothes and attacks he could have. But Erdrick and Doom Guy, if you believe this unverified information, are in Smash.
Actually, I put up a Smash Bros. Prediction podcast. I think we should honestly make one, because I think that would be interesting to kind of, especially after E3, once the dust is kind of settled, because Joker kind of just surprised everybody. No one was really expecting him to be in there.
Which is purely Sony. Is Persona 5 a PlayStation exclusive?
It's PlayStation exclusive for now. But they don't, as far as I know, PlayStation or Sony do not own the rights to that game. I believe that they probably paid Atlas money, similar to how like Nintendo had like a deal with Monster Hunter for a while.
Okay.
I think it's something similar to that, because there are spin-offs of Persona on the 3DS. You have Persona Q, and then there's another Persona game that came out recently. So there are Persona games on Nintendo hardware, but the mainline series has mainly been on PlayStation.
Okay.
So I feel like that kind of caught people like really off guard, and I've still been trying to figure out why they put Joker on there. And a little later on in the podcast, very soon actually, I'll kind of reveal why I think that is. But after that, I feel like a lot of people's expectations of these Smash characters now have gone kind of haywire in a way, because you don't really know now. You don't really know what Nintendo's going to do, because nobody predicted Joker to be on there.
I'm sure if you look through the deep web, you may have found someone who said something. Not the deep web. I'm just saying, if you go through the many threads online about people's Smash predictions, I'm sure you would have found there somewhere. You're right. It's less obvious than it used to be.
Yeah.
In between Brawl and Smash 4 is when you have like a lot of good guesses, but now it's just you're choosing the B characters. I wouldn't even know who to pick. Who is that last main guy or girl character to show up in these Smash games? I wouldn't be able to pick one. Or there's a real obvious one that's missing. You always see people say Gino, who I really don't know where he's from. He's definitely a popular one. King K. Rool, again, he was one of those ones between Smash 4 and Ultimate.
Yeah.
That people were desperate to get in there. Shrek and SpongeBob. Hey, SpongeBob with this remaster would be an excellent addition. I mean, why not?
Why not?
Why not? In fact, I think, honestly, if you guys think back a couple of years ago, we got Bayonetta from a poll that Nintendo gave us. I mean, that was a fan-chosen character. I think Bayonetta was the number 1 choice in Europe, and maybe number 5 in America. I don't remember exactly where she placed in America, but I think it was number 1 in Europe. They would not reveal who the top choices were in America because I think it was all meme-based. Think back to that whole name your own Mountain Dew thing back in the day. So I'm pretty sure the top 2 spots were taken up by Shrek, who is just completely uncalled for.
No, it doesn't make any sense.
But SpongeBob is just as ridiculous, but actually has a history in video games.
Yeah.
The flagship one being Battle for Bikini Bottom. That would be amazing if they add him in there. A lot of different things they could do.
Well, he'd have a good moveset because you have all those bubble attacks. It would translate really well.
Right.
There was also the Grinch rumors.
Oh, Jesus. What the hell even was that?
I honestly don't know. I think there was some cartoon Grinch movie that Nintendo had some kind of partnership with them for like a Mario movie. I don't really know. I'm so happy that wasn't the case because that to me never even like that made about as much sense as Shrek to me.
You're right. It's kind of like the same family, green movie characters, right?
Yeah, and it wasn't even like the actual Grinch they wanted. It was some cartoon like clay version of him.
Yeah, I mean, if they're going to have, Shrek and the Grinch, why not just put Gumby in the running?
Oh, my God. You can put Bubsy in there.
Bubsy, yeah.
Oh, God. I hope that nothing, like, stupid happens with that. But I think that it would be cool. I was talking about in that old episode that I had, I actually mentioned Doom Guy as someone that I would like to see in there just for a pure like legacy type of character because he's been around forever.
Right. Master Chief would probably be another good one.
That's another one that I put in there that I'd like to see. And Phil Spencer even said like he would be totally cool with Master Chief being in there. Nintendo and Microsoft are close. I think that'd be awesome. Like having Mario, Sonic, Pac-Man, Master Chief, Link, all those characters in one game.
Crazy.
Like, I mean, come on. Like, who wouldn't want that? So I think that would be really, really cool. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different characters that I think that they could incorporate in there. I'd like to see Dr. Robotnik in there. Like kind of like similar to how like Bowser Jr. is, like inside like his little egg pod. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, that would be an interesting Mario to Sonic. What would you call it? A mirror character? Echo character, I think is what they call those.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. Kind of like how Peach and Daisy are Echo characters. So yeah, that'd be interesting. They both kind of have those little things they run around in, that fly around in. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I think it would be kind of cool.
I always wanted a Sonic and Tails thing, kind of like, is there a press? You know how you have Nana and Popo or whatever the ice climbers are?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be cool if it has like a Sonic and Tails things and they control more like the Genesis physics.
Yeah.
Than the kind of the heavy controls the modern Sonic has right now in Smash. Sonic and Tails, like a classic Sonic and classic Tails edition.
Yeah.
Would definitely be interesting. I mean, there's so many different links. Why can't there be another Sonic?
Yeah, I think it'd be kind of cool to have like a 3 like rotation similar to how the old Pokemon trainer was, and have Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails as like a 3 rotation. I think that'd be kind of cool.
That'd be interesting. Yeah.
Probably won't happen, But thanks to being on more powerful hardware now, though, you can have more than one character together. So
You can have, as far as I know, you can have 16 ice climbers in a match.
Which is
which is why Ice Climbers was not in Smash 4, is you couldn't do that. The hardware wouldn't keep up.
Yeah, so now we can, and that kind of opens up some more possibilities in terms of characters that could be revealed. So, yeah, I mean, I think I even mentioned how I'd like to see them. This is kind of, kind of out there, but I also mentioned in a character I'd like to see them add in there. Maybe a tribute to Satoru Iwata having all the different features of games that he, took part in. So he'd have the balloon battle balloons and, different abilities. I think that'd be a cool tribute to him if they ended up doing something like that.
Sure.
So I thought that'd be pretty cool. Maybe have a tag team with him and Reggie because they were really good friends.
Yeah.
I think that'd be really cool. I'm not sure how respectful that is to put someone in there and then essentially beat the crap out of them. But I just think it would kind of be a cool, reference in there. And I honestly feel like he'd be honored, or he would have been honored to have something like that in there. So there's a lot of options they can do. And I feel like whoever they pick is going to be a big surprise. But we definitely, I think, should have an episode dedicated to Smash Bros, like a Smash Bros wish list, like an updated one. Because I think that would be a lot of fun. So that's pretty much it for the news stories. If unless you have something else that you added to yours.
No. Are we going to talk about the what E3 predictions we have?
Yes. Now I divided mine up into the different companies. I'm not sure what you did with yours.
I just have a couple. I mean, one of them was Simpsons Hit and Run, and I called it Simpsons Hit and Run Recidivist, which is a legal term for when people go to jail for a certain crime and then commit that crime again when they come out. That's one of the couple I have here.
Okay, so that's more clever than what I did then. I literally just put a wall of text and game titles that are going to be shown, and I threw in just some wild ones in there, but I guess, my list is super long, so do you want to start with yours?
Yeah, I Mario Odyssey 2 I have written here. I think the first one came out in October 2017. I think it's high time. How hard is it to make a Mario game at this point? There's a million of them. Now,
Oh, yeah.
I would say it's early enough to show what they're working on in terms of a new 3D Mario game. So I do think something like that will make an appearance.
Okay.
Before I heard the SpongeBob news yesterday, I think I was going to say that would show up. The other game I have on here is, I don't know if you read this story yet, that George Martin, he wrote the A Song of Ice and Fire, where the Game of Thrones show is based off of, the books the Game of Thrones show is based off of. And Miyazaki, the director of the From Software games, Dark Souls, Bloodborne, etc.
Yeah.
They're working on something that's a rumor. It could just be a Game of Thrones game, which is an open world. I think Miyazaki wants to make a game like a Skyrim, like a GTA, like an open world type game, like a Breath of the Wild, like an open world type game that has his gameplay in it. So what I'm going to suggest, and this may be a better prediction for last week when we were just kind of going off the wall, is a Game of Thrones game that is inspired by the work that George Martin and Miyazaki came up with.
Wow.
And if they don't show any gameplay, just that, hey, this is what we're working on, details to follow. So that's all I've got. I think that will show up. I don't know if you just want to run through your list, what you got here. That's all I have.
Okay. That would be cool, though. Game of Thrones game. Obviously, it's still very popular.
Yeah.
I don't really keep up with that series. I'll probably watch it eventually because I've heard nothing but great things about it, except for this last season.
That's right.
So, yeah, I'll have to look into that. I had no idea that was going on. So, once again, I'm glad that you were able to put that on there. I guess I'll start with Nintendo. So, Nintendo, number one, they're going to show off Animal Crossing. and I think they'll have some, new gimmick with Animal Crossing, but I think that's definitely going to be a game that they'll show. I think they're going to save it till later in their presentation just to make fans nervous. It's not one that they mentioned in their like E3 tweets, so people are starting to feel like, oh no, they're not going to mention it. I'm pretty sure they're going to mention Animal Crossing, so don't worry. Link's Awakening is going to be shown, which, I love how that game looks. It looks amazing. I'm definitely going to pick that game up.
I forgot all about that.
Yep.
That's right. They're remaking that game.
Mm-hmm.
That's like one of the Zelda 2 and Link's Awakening. They're kind of forgotten a little bit. You can say the same thing with Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons. You sometimes forget some of these games exist.
Yeah, there's the Capcom games, right?
I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, before you go any further, Animal Crossing. Wouldn't it be cool if they invited Reggie? Let's say they do the presentation and it seems like it's over, right? Everything goes to black. They leave the stage, but then Reggie shows up on the stage while it's still dark, so no one knows he's there yet. The lights come back on, and it's just like, hey everyone, Reggie here as a consultant, here to introduce you to the new Animal Crossing game on the Nintendo Switch. I think that'd be a nice touch and just like a final farewell, because I think that's somewhat of a meme. Probably went away a long time ago, where he would just say, I got to get back to Animal Crossing New Leaf on my new 3DS. So I think that'd be very charming, very engrossing if they decided to do something like that.
So the way Nintendo's doing these is that it's just going to it's actually already pre-recorded.
It is, okay.
So, but the fact that you said that, though, that actually kind of increases the chances that maybe they pre-recorded Reggie doing Animal Crossing
before he retired. Yeah.
So that's actually really interesting. I didn't think about that, but he is a huge Animal Crossing fan, and I just saw that meme not too long ago with a hilarious caption, and I was cracking up about that. So that's funny you brought that up too. That would be cool though. I mean, Reggie is awesome. Everybody loves him. I don't think anybody really wanted him to retire, just because he's so, important to Nintendo, and he was so, connected with the fans, even though he didn't really have a whole lot of he literally had no social media presence. So it was just weird how there was just a connection between Reggie and the fans. But that would be so awesome for him to come back and just show off, the new Animal Crossing game.
Yeah, just when you're least expecting it.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Fans would go absolutely crazy for that. I mean, I'd go crazy for that. I think it'd be great. So besides Animal Crossing, Link's Awakening, that is a really bizarre game. It has a chain chomp in it, I believe.
I couldn't finish that game when I picked it up. I think I have it on my 3DS. I downloaded it off the store. I couldn't finish it. I think I got stuck somewhere and didn't have any energy to go. I wasn't necessarily enjoying myself.
Yeah.
I mean, when you play Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword and all the other games in 3D World, and you go back to a game like that, it's tough.
Oh, yeah.
It's tough.
I'm sure.
So it couldn't keep my attention. But, hey, update those graphics. It could be something special.
Yeah, and it has that weird clay-like style of graphics.
It definitely has a unique look. Yeah, it has a unique look. So it's kind of a charming world.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it'll attract some people.
Now, I feel like that game, and this is what I said however long ago that was, I feel like Link's Awakening was a result of Nintendo merging their console and handheld departments, because this looks like something that would have been on the 3DS, or at least their dedicated handheld. But once they merged it, this is an example of maybe a smaller game going to, the home console or, hybrid console that is the Switch. So I think that is really cool that the Switch is going to be kind of reaping benefits from that. The next one on my list is Fire Emblem Three Houses, which big fan of Fire Emblem Awakening on the Nintendo 3DS. Didn't mess around a whole lot with the other ones. Just didn't really interest me. This game, though, to me looks really cool because you kind of play the role of a teacher, and you're kind of training your students how to battle. It seems like there's a lot of drama and different interactions between the different houses and groups, and outside danger. Are you gonna work together to beat the common enemy? So I think that looks really cool. Luigi's Mansion 3 is going to be neat. They'll probably show that off. There was some reports that I read that Bayonetta 3 was not going to be at E3, but I think they'll probably show off gameplay of that, or at least a trailer of that. So I think that you'll have Platinum come out there and say something, even if it's not even a trailer. It's just them saying like Bayonetta 3 is being worked on right now and it's going good. I think that's going to be a thing. I think that there are going to be some third-party games sprinkled in there, and I think that Persona 5 is going to be one of them. It would just make sense because Joker's is in Smash Bros. So I think Persona 5 is going to be on there. I think that there's been so many, speculations surrounding The Witcher 3. I think that's going to be on the Switch. I know that CD Projekt Red basically came out and said it's not happening. There's too many, things that would have to occur for that to happen. But then I believe Geralt, his voice actor went on Twitter and was basically saying like, who else would love to see The Witcher 3 on Switch? So why would he go out and do that? And he put a little winky face. So I think that they're really playing this off. But I think that there's too many rumors surrounding this, and they have surfaced so many times. I think that The Witcher 3 is probably going to end up on the Switch.
Can the Switch service The Witcher 3?
I think that it probably could. I feel like if they are doing it, I feel like CD Projekt Red probably gave it to Panic Button, or they're outsourcing it. Panic Button did Doom and Rocket League, and they basically developed that. Or at least they're utilizing a dynamic resolution, which will help the Switch kind of accommodate whenever something gets a little bit too strenuous on it. So
I think we talked about this last week.
Yeah.
Okay, it's going to be an imperfect port.
Pretty much, yeah. So I think that's going to happen. I feel like there's going to be some kind of Bethesda game that comes out on Switch. So I went ahead and put Fallout 3 Remastered. That could be a game that Bethesda does. That to me just kind of made a lot of sense because, they've already remastered and redone Skyrim so many times. They put it in VR. I feel like Fallout 3, which I believe runs, actually, no, I know for a fact it runs on the same engine. I feel like that would be a logical port or logical remaster for, all the systems, including the Switch. That'd be really cool. To accommodate for Metroid Prime 4's development being completely scrapped and restarted by Retro Studios, I think Metroid Prime Trilogy is going to be showing up on the Switch. It'll be in HD this time, which is going to be cool. Twin stick, but I also think there'll be an option to use the Joy-Cons to aim, similar to how it was on the Wii. This is another one that I think might see an HD remastering, and just because I feel like they would outsource this, and I feel like it could translate to the Switch, I feel like it could go either way. And that was Skyward Sword HD. I feel like that's something that could potentially be in the running to be on Switch.
That makes a lot of sense. They've done it with Twilight Princess, Skyward Sword. It's almost like forgotten about nowadays. Completely overshadowed by things like Wind Waker HD, which looks amazing.
It does.
And, of course, Breath of the Wild. I was actually just thinking about Skyward Sword last night. Love to replay that game. So it'd be nice to see in HD. A game's a pretty game. I think it'd work out nicely with an HD remake, similar to how Wind Waker worked out nicely. A good looking game to look like an even better looking game.
Yeah.
That'd be nice. People I've not forgotten about Skyward Sword. Say what you want about the level variety. It's not as good as Twilight Princess and other games, but definitely would like to have that in my hands again and play it. Like the Ancient Cistern, really unique levels. Just no snow levels, unfortunately. That's what I mean by lack of game variety. But still a great experience. You never beat that game, did you?
I didn't, and it kind of got washed away for me.
Well, Skyrim came out at the same time, right?
I got them on the exact same day on Christmas.
Yeah, I'm not mistaken. I think Dark Souls came out in 2011 as well.
It's a big year.
We didn't play that until way later. I didn't play that until way later. But, yeah, it was a big year, and it was a long time ago.
It was, yeah.
To make that more accessible to us for people who don't have Wiis ready to go. I really miss the motion controls. Remember that Skyward Sword, that came, I don't know if it came with what was that little peripheral you'd attach to the Wiimote?
The Wii Motion Plus.
Wii Motion Plus. Yeah, I kind of missed that whole thing.
I kind of do too.
May have been imperfect, but feeling like you're swinging a sword instead of as you're swinging the controller is kind of nice.
Yeah,
it was one of the things when I played the Wii U's version of Twilight Princess. Like, wow, I kind of miss the imperfect controls.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe it's just nostalgia, but I do miss the kind of interaction you have with the game.
Yeah, I agree. I think that obviously the motion aiming is really important, and I'm happy they did retain that in the 3DS version. Switch brought it back. The Wii U still had the motion aiming. But there's something about swinging the sword, and honestly, I wanted to see them bring back Twilight Princess with Motion Plus controls because I feel like that would have been really fun. Just like the style and the combat. That was something I kind of, missed about it. And I think one of the biggest challenges about bringing back Skyward Sword is that game was really centered around motion controls primarily.
Yeah. Even in the, final boss, oh God, I don't want to spoil you. Yeah. I can't imagine it's that hard to redo, but I'm not a developer. So
yeah, I just know that a lot of the puzzles and a lot of the enemies required you to swing certain ways.
Yeah, I remember certain enemies would put their weapons in a certain pattern, and you could only really hurt them by swinging in a certain way where it would go in between what those swords are.
Yeah. Now, I do know that, as far as I know, the Joy-Cons have the same technology, or at least a little bit improved technology of Motion Plus inside of them. So you could technically, put on the grips, put the wrist straps on, and use those as motion controllers.
Yeah. Thing about the Wii U, you could put those rubber covers on them, and it would make the ends of them a little heavier. So when you swing the bottom of the Wiimote, you have kind of like that baseball bat effect where the heavy part is on the end, which gave you a satisfying swing sensation, which you wouldn't have with the Joy-Cons.
Yeah, the Joy-Cons are very light and they're very small. It wouldn't really feel the same.
You may, just because you don't have that satisfying type of counterweight at the end.
Yeah.
I don't know. It may strain your wrist. It may be easier to strain your wrist and things like that. If you take care of yourself, it's not going to be a problem. But it probably won't be as crisp as an experience as the Wii version was.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. A lot of people weren't a big fan of the motion controls for the Wii, but I don't know why. I actually really like the Wii controls for shooters. I like them for Legend of Zelda games. I thought it was comfortable being able to hold the controller separate and not holding your hands so close together. I don't know. I just kind of appreciated that, I guess. But I mean, I personally would have liked to have seen a Wiimote with, instead of having that D-pad on the Wii remote, make it an analog stick, and then you can kind of just have whatever controls you want. But we'll probably never see anything like that again.
Yeah, that's come and gone.
Yeah, so it's kind of unfortunate. But besides Skyward Sword HD, the last thing I put on here is that the press conference will end with the Smash Bros. Character reveal. I feel like that's just how it's going to end. I can't imagine it ending any other way, honestly.
Give us a silhouette or something.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they're just going to go outright and show it. I mean, I don't think it's even going to be teased. I mean, if they keep it the same as they've been doing, because they still have, 4 more reveals?
Yeah, they've got 4 characters to tell us.
I mean, it's going to take them 4 years to fill out the roster. So I'm hoping that they just go ahead and show it and don't, mess around with that whole thing. I mean, if you're gonna talk about it and show it off. And then of course, I didn't include this on here, but they'll probably talk about the new Mario Maker game, which looks really good because now it features multiplayer, but it's kind of stupid in a way because if you play online, there's no way to play with your friends. So it's kind of, it's typical Nintendo online, not super modern and not super accessible to people that want to play with people that they know. So hopefully something like that will get changed, but I'm sure that will make an appearance at the show as well. And obviously the Marvel Alliance game will be there too. Now, Xbox, like I said before, I'm not a huge Xbox fan, and when it comes to their games, I'm not super up to date on what Xbox has. So I put Halo Infinite because that game's just been talked about a lot. Obsidian's Outer Worlds, which is very similar to like Fallout 76, but it'll probably be a lot better. Gears of War 5, Fable 4. Both of those are rumored to be making an appearance. Fable 4 is interesting because a long time ago Microsoft shut down the Fable team. So it's going to be really interesting to see what they do to bring Fable 4 back. And then just some crazy ideas here that I think are highly possible. Microsoft possibly getting with Insomniac to bring back Sunset Overdrive in the form of Sunset Overdrive 2. I also included Alan Wake because why not? That's a franchise that hasn't been around for a while, so it'd be interesting to see if they could possibly bring that back. But Microsoft's going heavy on exclusives this time around, so anything's really possible. And then there is one more section here where I think they will call someone out from Nintendo onto the stage, probably Nintendo's new president, or I guess that would make sense. I mean, or maybe Doug Bowser to make his first public appearance. And I think they're going to announce Game Pass on the Nintendo Switch, which will feature, the Halo collection and all that. And I think a trade-off NES Online will be on Xbox. So I think it's going to be a really collaborative effort there, and I think this is the perfect time to announce something like that. And I think that would be really interesting.
Xbox has that all that time, so I don't know. I don't know how it's going to be organized. Does Nintendo go right on before Xbox, or right after, or a different day than Xbox? I'd like to see more about what they're doing. What would you say, the NES Online?
Yeah, so that NES Online app that Nintendo has on theirs, where it's basically Nintendo adds more NES games, and if you pay for the service, you get all those games on the system.
Yeah, it'd be nice if they talk about that a little bit more.
So I think that is going to make its way onto the Xbox platform. I think they're going to have access to that in exchange for Xbox Game Pass being on the Switch. So you'll be able to play like the classic Mario games on Xbox, which I think would make fans really, really happy. And that would just be a revolutionary partnership, really. The fact that Nintendo games would be showing up on a different system, and then Microsoft games would be showing up on a Nintendo platform. To me, everything that they've done up to this point really leads me to believe that this has a really strong possibility of happening. Besides that, I also have Bethesda. They're going to show off Wolfenstein Youngblood. And when it comes to the remaster game that I think that they will ultimately do, there's a highly unlikely Oblivion remaster that I wrote down here. I don't think that's going to happen, but it's it's a possibility. And then you have Fallout 3 remastered, which I think will be the more likely of those two if they are going to remaster a game. Number 3 I have down here is Fallout 76 update, which will feature all vaults open, which will essentially turn Fallout 76 into a more traditional Fallout experience with NPCs. So will that happen? I don't know. There was a long time ago, though, that they hinted at something like that, where they said that in the future all the vaults will open. So I guess there will be people that are coming out of the different vaults that aren't 76, because the whole story kind of ties into 76 being the first vault that opens, which kind of explains why there is no established NPCs or anything like that in the game. So I'm hoping that something like that happens, and I hope Fallout 76 continues on its road to repair and redemption. And then they already said that Elder Scrolls is not going to be shown off here, and they're also saying that Starfield is not. I think one or both of these games are going to get teased. I feel like Bethesda is just trying to be tight-lipped about it. But other than that, I don't think it's going to be that big of a presentation. Now, I also have EA, and this one's kind of exciting because I think they're going to talk about their sports games, which is okay. I really don't need to know any information about it. I get Madden every year. That's, just kind of a guilty pleasure of mine. Apex Legends is something that they'll talk about. I've read something about possibly like a season 2 or something. I don't play that game, so I don't really know what that means. But the real thing is Respawn Entertainment, the creators of Titanfall. They are working on Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which the trailer came out for that a couple weeks ago. It looks really interesting. The box art or concept art, I'm pretty sure it's like a box art, came out maybe yesterday, and it looks really, really neat. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what that's all about. Like EA finally has probably a last chance to really get these Star Wars games on the right track, because they've butchered every other one from the start. So I'm hoping this one turns out to be something really cool.
Yeah, I mean, Battlefront Battlefront 2's okay, and Fallen Order. What they need to do is they need to start you off as a youngling at the beginning of Order 66, and you got to survive it. But yeah, it'll be okay.
That would actually be a really interesting concept. Maybe you're the kid that said, "Master Skywalker, what are we going to do?"
Yeah, and you kind of, through all the carnage, you kind of hide behind one of the chairs or something.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, he kind of just stayed out of his line of vision. That would actually be really funny in a way. So we'll see what happens with that. I don't really know what type of game it is. It's not going to be like a KOTOR type game. I'm pretty sure the game that they were working on that was going to be similar to that has pretty much been canceled at this point. So this is something that maybe will kind of be like a Star Wars Force Unleashed type game, which I never played, but I know a lot of people enjoyed that. So maybe it'll be something along those lines. I just hope that they have some cool scenes in there. Because, I mean, there's been a lot of good Star Wars games. I just remember that ending scene where in Episode 3, it's like that alternate ending where Anakin ends up stabbing Emperor Palpatine with his new red lightsaber.
Right.
So maybe they'll have something funny like that in this
Now,
game.
the galaxy belongs to me. Outrageous.
It would just be hilarious if that was like if somehow you were able to trigger that ending and you never seen Star Wars before, and you're just like, that doesn't really explain how he became Darth Vader.
Right, yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's got the red lightsaber. Where's the mask come in?
Yeah, did he just like start dressing up like that for the heck of it? But yeah, so I'm interested to see that. And then the last one's is Ubisoft, and they just have Watch Dogs and maybe a new Splinter Cell game. I'd love to see them release a brand new Red Steel game on the Switch. That'd be amazing, because Red Steel 2, one of my favorite games of all time, no big deal. But besides that, I don't really know what Ubisoft's going to do. Maybe they'll outline some new Division 2 stuff, which I think would be cool, because Division 2 is a seriously awesome game. So maybe they'll outline some new content that's coming out for that. But besides that, I don't really have much. They said they're not going to be showing off the new Assassin's Creed game, so I honestly don't know what else they would have. So, and then I guess besides Ubisoft, you have Activision, who is probably going to show off some Call of Duty Modern Warfare, which is a reboot of the Modern Warfare series. So it looks like they're going kind of back to the basics and not like ridiculous stuff like they have been doing. So I'm hoping that ends up being something pretty cool.
Now that you mentioned Activision, they worked with From Software on Sekiro. It'd be nice to see if they produce some DLC. I haven't heard any rumors on that. That game has gotten kind of stale, so it'd be nice if had some more challenges there.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
That'd be interesting. They add that at the end.
Yeah, I mean, that would be something that I think a lot of people would appreciate, just because, I mean, that game's really popular, and why not have people go in there for another round? So
We, all those From Software games, I think the DLC is the best parts of every single one of those games.
Okay.
So hopefully Sekiro gets some treatment a la that soon.
All right, well, that sounds good. I mean, I'm hoping that maybe the best is yet to come for your sake in terms of that game. And besides that, I think I'm pretty much all out of predictions, and my throat is bleeding out of dryness, even though I drank an entire water bottle. And we are over 2 hours right now, so I don't know about you, but I kind of want to wrap this up.
Yeah, let's close this out. E3 starts on Sunday, like Sunday afternoon, I guess.
It'll start on Sunday, and I believe it ends on Thursday. I think on Sunday it will be Bethesda and I want to say maybe EA.
Okay.
And then I think Microsoft goes on Monday, Nintendo goes on Tuesday, and I guess the other companies are kind of sprinkled in throughout that week.
Okay.
But I think Thursday's the last day for it.
We'll have a lot to talk about what happens.
Yeah.
Next time.
Yeah, we might have to split that up into multiple episodes. I'm not really sure how we're going to handle that yet, but yeah, we'll see how right we are with these predictions. And as always, you guys can find this podcast across all your favorite podcasting platforms: Stitcher Radio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Castbox, Spotify. Am I missing any? You guys can also find it on YouTube. It's not really that exciting, but you guys can find it there if you still want to watch your stuff on YouTube and stare at a nice static image. But we will see you guys next week. I hope you guys are super excited for E3, and I hope you guys enjoyed the show. If you made it this far, thanks for sticking around, and we will see you guys next week.
See you later.